Chapter 25. Trenton.
Agent Dexter? Man exclaimed. What in Sam Hill just happened?
Commandant, I'm sorry, I don't know, Tully floundered. Commandant Gretzky, I presume, said Ambrose, stepping forward. My name is Ambrose Ward, and this is my niece, Lydia.
What the?
Gretzky began, and then changed direction.
Is that a chicken?
It is indeed. However, that is incidental. I believe two friends of ours are being held here. It is imperative that you allow Agent Dexter to report to you on the situation, and in particular, on her suspicions about Captain Charles. And I wonder if Lydia might sit down. I suspect bringing us here was as unusual for her as it was for the rest of us. The Commandant invited them all to sit, then put out his cigar with a guilty grimace. Tully gave her report. She recounted a succinct version of the story of the diary, the Death Eaters, and Aloria. She told him that she had witnessed her captain being told to have Harry and his party followed. She said she believed that the best lead they had on the activities of Captain Charles was the same Aloria that Harry's team was seeking. That being the case, she recommended releasing Harry, suspending Charles, and investigating the university.
Thank you, Agent Dexter, said Gretzky. Do you know I can't sanction any of those actions at this time of night? An internal investigation would have to be discussed with the director.
If we don't lock down Charles right now, he will inform Aloria Rakison, and we'll never catch her or prove anything, Tully argued. Gretzky picked up his cigar, then put it down again.
Dexter. Tully. How sure are you that Charles is not on the level? He asked.
Completely sure, sir.
If you were to detain Captain Charles and the prisoners were to somehow escape, and all of you were to find this Aloria and prove the case against Charles, I would probably have to give you a stern verbal reprimand for overstepping your authority. Then I'd have to recommend you for a commendation, he smiled. If it doesn't work out that way, well, I'll do what I can, but you could end up on a charge of insubordination.
I'm willing, she said hesitantly, looking to Ambrose, who nodded. I'm willing to take the risk, sir.
Good.
Gretzky grinned.
Get Charles first. Then all of you go to the university. Your brother is here somewhere. Take him with you.
Yes, sir. They stood, and Tully, Ambrose, and Lydia left the office, taking the chicken with them. I can't believe the Commandant is letting me do this, Tully said. I can, Lydia said. Ooh, added the chicken. They descended a flight of stairs at the end of the corridor. Tully pulled them up outside a sturdy door. Before we go in, she told the others, let me tell you what I need to do. I'll have to find Captain Charles, disarm him, and put him in a cell. Then I need to find Toby, my brother, and release Harry and Ron, before we can think about getting out of here and going to the university. I don't know where any of them are, or which cell your friends are in. I'm relying on the hope that Charles hasn't warned Aloria because it's late. Sounds like a fun time for all, Ambrose noted dryly. Tully bent down towards Lydia. If you can help in any way, if you have one of your flashes of inspiration, that would be great. Lydia held up one finger to say, wait a minute. They waited amid a breathless hush. Lydia took the chicken from Ambrose and stroked her. A minute or more passed. Tully shuffled awkwardly. Yes, Lydia hissed finally. The captain's in the third office on the left. He hasn't told Aloria. Oh. What is it? Ambrose asked. He's planning to kill. Who? The other two demanded. Lydia stood with her mouth open for a moment and then sagged. Sorry, it's gone. She looked pale, but not as drained as on previous occasions. I think I should have a word with your captain, Ambrose suggested. That's too dangerous, Ambrose. Leave this to me. I fully intend to, he smiled. I simply thought that the sight of a distinguished gentleman such as myself, carrying a chicken, might be sufficient to distract him for a moment, allowing you to get the drop on him. Tully regarded Ambrose for several seconds. Be careful, Tally warned. If he makes a move, jump out of the way. I will endeavour to do my best. Tally heaved a disapproving sigh and glowered at Ambrose. It is an improvement on no distraction, he pointed out. He's experienced, Lydia piped up. Drives me to distraction all the time. Limeys, Tally muttered, shaking her head. Tally placed her wand tip to the door, and it opened. Ambrose led the way inside. Tally followed, keeping Lydia behind her. Ambrose held the chicken up to his face and smiled. He stepped up to the third door on the left. It was open, and a man was inside, standing at a cabinet, side on to the door. I wonder if you could help me, officer, Ambrose ventured. The man turned towards him. Ambrose threw the chicken towards the man's face, then stepped aside. Tally threw herself into the doorway and brandished her wand. In a flash of red light, the man fell to the floor. At this point, several things happened in rapid succession. Toby! Shouted Tally. Another man appeared from the next door along on the opposite side. Lydia, down! Cried Ambrose. The man swept his wand from inside his robes. Tally stepped out into the corridor. Lydia stepped in front of Tally. Green light burst from the man's wand towards Lydia. Ambrose scrambled to put himself in front of her. The green light seemed to hit Lydia, but fell to the floor in a shower of violet droplets. Tally shot a beam of red light at the man. The man fell to the floor, stunned. Lydia, Ambrose said hoarsely. I'm fine, she said. He didn't touch me. Toby, said Tally again. There came a groan from the office. Gaw, said the chicken. Tally took the man in the corridor's wand and bound him as she had been bound back at the safe house. Ambrose hugged Lydia, then retrieved the chicken from the office. The chicken was unharmed, though ruffled. Ambrose solemnly apologised to it. Tally went into the office and checked the figure on the floor. Her brother, Toby. She waved her wand silently over him. He glowed with the faint golden light for a moment, then sat up. Hi, sis, he said. What did I do wrong this time? Nothing yet, she gasped, and hugged him. She helped Toby to his feet, and they went out into the corridor, where the rope-bound figure of Captain Charles was propped against the wall. I'd just gone into the office after I saw the captain come out, Toby was saying. So Lydia was right when she said he was in the third office, Tally said to Ambrose. But we took a few seconds and everyone moved around. He's been acting funny lately. I wanted to see what he was up to, Toby explained. What he was up to? Said a clearly horrified Lydia. He was planning to kill me. I thought he had, Tally moaned. That was the killing curse he used. You protected yourself against that? Toby sounded impressed. And get this. She's only been magical a few days, Tally told him. What? A long story, said Ambrose. Where might you find Harry and Ron? The holding cells are this way. Tally took them along a corridor and down another flight of stairs. Let me check the evidence boxes, she said, as they entered an austere antechamber. Set into a wall on one side of the room were a number of square alcoves, each containing a wooden chest. The effect was not unlike an old family crypt or a mortuary, though the boxes were smaller than coffins. A few of the boxes had writing on them, but not many. Here it is, Tally announced. Harry Potter and accomplice. I won't tell Ron, will you? She smiled at Ambrose and Lydia. She lifted the box from its alcove and placed it on the one table in the room. She touched the box with her wand. A bright blue line shone around the edge of the lid. A faint hiss of air issued from the lid as it was unsealed. Tally reached inside and drew out Harry's wand. You still got Ron's? She checked with Ambrose. Certainly, he replied, drawing the wand from inside his jacket. This way. She beckoned them to an open doorway across from the entrance. A long corridor stretched away into darkness. There were heavy iron-braced doors along the right side. They passed 6 or 7, then stopped at the next. Tally tapped on the door. "Harry? Ron?" she called softly. "Yes," they chorused from inside. She tapped the door with her wand in 3 places. It swung inwards. Inside, the 2 men were chained to high-backed chairs, which looked as though they offered little comfort even without the chains. Tally and Toby freed them from their bonds, and Tally introduced them to Toby. She could not hide the excitement in her voice as she introduced Harry Potter to her brother. "We need to go back to Salem," said Harry. "It's over 300 miles, or 1,000,000 furlongs, or whatever you guys use," Toby informed them. "A hard operate on a good day, which this sure isn't. And that's without the passengers." "Yeah, miles, by the way," Ron informed him. Harry and Tally looked at Lydia. She was holding the chicken and stroking her. A few of her feathers came away in Lydia's hand. She stared at them. "Really?" she said, looking from the chicken to the feathers and back. The chicken made a noise which sounded for all the world like an old lady's reaction to hearing some juicy gossip. "Take a feather each," she told them, holding her hand out. As each took one, they disappeared, until Lydia and the chicken were left. "Bark," the chicken said. A moment later, they were standing together again, but outside, in the dark night, the smell of sea on the air.